Thank you, Allison. I will totally use everybody if I can. Nobody is smarter than I am. So welcome. I guess I'll click to the next slide. Well, let's see if I can, let's see. All right, so welcome. I'm gonna have to pull this. So Lori, you're gonna need to moderate chat, or Scott, or any of the board. I am going to this button. I'm going off of 2 computers, so please bear with me. Oh, there it is.
We can tag team the chat, so feel free to.
Yes. Okay, so here we go. Here's the official welcome. So we are going to do introductions. I am Catherine Shook. I am one of your co-presidents for this school year with Cherokee County Council PTA. We have Lori Burton.
Hi, everyone.
Let's see, I know I saw Scott. I think the whole board is here. Scott Steinbrenner. All right, the board's here. Just shout your name out.
Hey, Scott Steinbrenner, Vice President 1.
Hey, Emily Trumbeth, Vice President 2.
Hi, Marilyn Reedy, Treasurer, is also here.
And Tiffany Hairgrove, Secretary, is here as well.
Awesome. So we have everyone. So welcome. We are your Cherokee County Council Board. We are here to support all of you guys this year. So let's get started with President Training. Dun, dun, dun. Here we are. So beginning, we have CCSD, 45 schools, that is including the preschools, and over 42,000 students, and we have 36 local units. PTA was founded in 1897. There's my dyslexia. Over 120 years of service. As presidents and vice presidents, you have been elected by your membership to serve as a representative of your school's local PTA unit to your community. You are an advocate of PTA. PTA is an advocate association. So we are, it's just more than your school. Your membership is counting on you to manage the organization's responsibility. You are in charge, you spend the funds, you promote advocacy for all children wherever you go. You're the president, you are the face of your school's PTA. So people will always be looking at you for questions and answers to those questions. If you don't know the answer, that's where council is here to help you. Your decisions do impact the school, students, and the families. And it's a fun task, but it is not a little task. We do want you to know that you're not alone. You do have a team that is your board. Council's here every step of the way. The members of your board will become your closest friends over the next 12 months. They might become frenemies. You never know, but we hope that you guys will be really great friends. And then you will, this is so true for me, and I don't know if it's for the other council leaders, but you will learn more about PTA than you ever thought you could ever know about PTA. It is going to be scary. It is going to be exhilarating, but you guys have the potential to make a huge impact on a lot of little lives, as well as the community. Let's see. Oh, sorry. So here, what we do is we carry the PT name proudly and cautiously. We do reach out for help. We use the resources. So you as local units, council is your resource. For council, sometimes we do go up to district and state as our resources. And be cautious. You are the face of the PTA and the voice of the PTA in your school community. So sometimes what you can say is taken as PTA says this. So we do ask for caution there. There have been, and even any communication that comes from another parent or things coming from outside the school, most generally in my, what I have been a part of, it has been considered PTA. So there's times where I have had to say, no, I'm sorry, that's not PTA, that's not us. And so you have to be careful about what you're saying and what others are saying. The association. Oh, I did not switch. All right, got it figured out. Set the tone. This is not a one man or woman show. I love goals and expectations. So set your expectations and your goals for your board and for the PTA for the year early. Learn from each other, be willing to compromise, be willing to listen. One of the best aspects of a leader is the willingness to listen. Listen to the voices around you, listen to what people are saying, and then put that into your leadership. A positive working relationship among board members is essential for a successful year. I personally have been on a board with a lot of tension, and it's not fun. It is very difficult to work through. You can work through it, but it makes the year a true struggle. So, I mean, if you can have a positive relationship, that's great. If you can't, council's here to help you guys. But a strong board creates a welcoming environment for the rest of the membership. And you guys are the face and you are leading the way. Visions and goals. I am a huge proponent of visions and goals. Lori and I have a lot, we've set down some goals. We have a vision for the council and what we can do to support the local units. You as a local unit also need to have visions and goals. What does the school community need? That's where the listening comes into. So brainstorm, kind of really figure out what does the school community need? How are we going to meet every child's potential? How are we going to meet every child's need? And sometimes that looks like meeting the community's need, because one thing I've learned is children are held up by the community around them too. So if the community is struggling, the children struggle. So sometimes PTA has to step into the community and help the community in order for every child's potential to be met. That is, so it's kind of looking at that bigger picture of community and life. So set overall goals for the year that are in line with the PTA's mission, including membership goals. For sure. We'll get to memberships, I promise. So advocate, tone, goals. What do you do now? Here we go. Like I've said, every PTA mission, every child, one voice, to make every child's potential a reality by engaging and empowering families and communities to advocate for all children. Not just a few children, all children. And that is what we do as a PTA. And sometimes that means that to advocate for all children, we are advocating for the community and empowering the community. That helps all children. And if anybody asks you, what is PTA doing in your school? That should be your goal right there. Is number one, to make every child's potential a reality by engaging and empowering families and communities to advocate for all children. So basic structure, PTA is an independent nonprofit association. Your PTA is an advocacy organization, not a booster organization. Actually, it's an advocacy association, not a booster organization. PTA is connected to Georgia State PTA and National PTA. So here's our basic structures. So we have National Georgia, which is our state, District 13 PTA, Cherokee County Council, which is us, and the local units, which are you. The executive committee is the officers plus a parliamentarian plus your principal. The executive committee officers are presidents or co-presidents. vice presidents, a secretary, and a treasurer. You can always only have one treasurer. You can have 2 secretaries. Your board of directors are your executive officers or your executive committee, plus your standing committee chairs. We do follow nationals standing committees, so we would recommend that you have a membership chair, family engagement chair, diversity, equity, and inclusion chair, an advocacy chair, a bylaws chair. Am I missing any chairs? Did I say family engagement?
Reflections.
Reflections. That's the one that wigs me out the most. Woo, reflections. Okay. Roles and responsibilities. I just love this. I love Simon Sinek, so you'll probably be seeing a lot of Simon Sinek videos and quotes. The courage of leadership is giving others the chance to succeed, even though you bear the responsibility for getting things done. That is what leadership is in PTA. So for the president, here we go. Here's your main role. Always know your bylaws. And then oversee financial compliance. But bylaws are the most important. One of those things that if you come to us with a question and we kind of know that the answer's in the bylaws, we're going to say, have you read your bylaws? That is your governing documents. They're very, very much so important. Check in regularly with your officers and committees. So have regular meetings. So like for us, for council, we are putting together a calendar of regular meetings so that we can go through the goals for the council board and make sure that we are hitting those targets. You need to do the same thing with your executive committee and your board of directors. You need to have regular meetings to make sure that you guys are hitting those targets, or you need to reevaluate. Identify challenges and invite solutions. You're a leader, listen. You do not have to run the whole ship. That's why you have a team. So use your team. Serve as a liaison between the school administration and or community partners. Your principal is on the EC. He or she should be a very integral part of some of these decision-making processes. That does not mean that you get to be your principal's bank account. So there is a difference there. And that is another training. Represent PTA to your community. Recruit and mentor volunteers and future leaders. Just like we are recruiting and mentoring anybody who wants to be on the BOD, we do need a reflections and a membership chair. Just throwing that out there. Did I do it? No, there it goes. Make sure all PTA processes follow the bylaws and that events and programs occur as planned. So there are rules in your leadership resource guide, which we should be getting an updated copy. I think if we're not getting an updated copy, you should have the 1920 copy. If you don't, ask one of us and we will email it to you. But between the bylaws and the leadership resource guide, or the LRG, if you've been in here for a while, those documents can help you guide and help you know what to do and what is coming in the PTA fiscal year. So ensure all financial and legal obligations are met and that the unit maintains good standing. This is changing. We do have a standards of affiliation that was announced at last week's CLT. So that will be a whole other training as well, but to be in good compliance, for sure, it definitely means doing your audit, having 3 general meetings, one that will give a budget, do a nomination committee, and do an election process. That turning in your 990. Don't have this written down, Lori, so make sure I'm doing it right.
Uploading your officers.
Uploading officers by May 1st into Member Hub. If you have not done that, we do need to see officers in Member Hub as soon as possible. So those are some, and again, that will be another training, and I think I have it on the other slides too. But those are help you get into compliance. Turning in council dues is another way to stay in compliance. If you're not in compliance, you can lose your charter. You can lose your incorporation, which is another thing. You do need to turn in those incorporation dues. So there are these check marks, there's 14 of them that you have to hit in order to stay in compliance and in good standing with Georgia and National PTA. I love what Scott says. It sounds scary, but it's a checklist. So it's not hard. It's just those little details that can slip through the cracks, and you just don't want to get them slipped through the cracks. Maintain the procedure book and coordinate with the secretary to ensure good records are kept. Your secretary is your new best friend. Your secretary is your new best friend. You get on a great standing with your secretary because they will help you keep organized for sure. I love Tiffany. Tiffany keeps me organized, and I appreciate it because I'm scatterbrained. Delegate responsibilities to the vice president and other members of the board. You are not a one man or one woman show. You have a team, use them. It makes you a better leader to build up and trust the other leaders around you. Don't try to do it all yourself. Otherwise, all you're going to end up doing is driving yourself crazy and making yourself angry and fed up. Trust me, I've been there. Okay, there we go. Be a good administrator, or being a good administrator can be tricky. You need to balance between micromanagement and letting things get out of control. Be organized as much as you can be. Listen always. Be available when people need help. And then be prepared to communicate all important skills to practice as an administrator. So as the president, you do need to attend or send a representative to all council and district meetings, workshops, PTA conventions, leadership conferences, and other related meetings. And then you need to distribute the information to the team. The other ones that come up are the advocacy conference. We always have one of those from state PTA. We always have a, it's in February, PTA Day at the Capitol. Those are some other ones that we have. National also has an advocacy conference that is always very interesting. So appoint in conjunction with the EC chairpersons and members of standing committees. That makes up your BOD. The board of directors is your governing body. So while EC, the executive committee, can make a lot of decisions, the BOD votes and says, yes, go ahead and bring that forth to the membership. So that having a BOD is very, very important. Each chairperson does need to give you a plan of work, and they also need to give you a kind of a budget so that you know how to create a budget. Hence the reason, hey, Cherokee County Council needs a BOD so we can start getting some plans of work done. Membership, reflections, just throwing that out there. You do, as president, serve as an ex officio member of all committees except the nominating and audit committees. Why do you think you would not be on the nominating or the audit committee? Anybody other than a council member?
It's a conflict of interest.
Thank you, Emily. Yes, it is a conflict of interest. So stay off those committees. And then, of course, respond to incoming correspondence. So we have reports and forms that, so make sure that they are completed and returned by the designated deadlines. If you come to the VP training, Scott has taken on reports and he's gonna be your guy to go to, but we do have certain deadlines. It is, I used to know the page number, but I can't remember the page number right now in the LRG. But if you have an LRG, there is a page that lists out all of the report deadlines. And that includes membership deadlines for your visionary pin. It includes everything. Oh, I like Lori's. If it's not in the minutes, it did not happen. You've got to make sure that everything gets into the minutes. Because if we say, hey, show us your minutes, and you can't prove that Billy said we were going to have a Cherry Dale fundraiser and it was going to happen through February 1st to February 7th, then that means that there is no Cherry Dale fundraiser happening. Just saying. Hold meetings of the EC and BOD to discuss plans and business of the association. Again, make those consistent. It makes it easier on all team members. Consult with officers and committee chairpersons before each meeting to see that all details of the meeting are planned and ready to and update the agenda as needed. So every meeting does need to have an agenda. Work out who's going to do the agenda. Sometimes the secretary can do the agenda. Sometimes the president can do the agenda. It's between you guys really to figure out who's going to do that. But make sure that whoever is doing that gets all the information they need to put into that agenda. Preside over or preside at all the meetings of the general membership, board of directors, and executive committees. And that is following the script. If you need scripts for all of these meetings, we do have scripts that we can share with you. And they are scripted because there is a way to run a meeting, and it's an official way. It is, you just got to follow the script. You can't just choose to say whatever you want to say. Okay. Schedule thoughtfully, be aware of your members. Have a clear purpose, prepare the agenda with board input. That kind of repeats what was on the last, and distribute as far in advance as possible. I like to do about 5 days ahead if I can. Sometimes things are going crazy, but 48 hours would be great. Give everybody time to get their agendas and get their heads wrapped around what they need to be doing. Facilitate effectively, be on time, keep it focused, let everyone be heard. Honor everybody's time. They will appreciate that. Ensure quorum. That is where you need to check your bylaws, and then communicate well in advance. 5 days for general meetings is the rule of thumb. Give them 5 days notice. But really, if you have all of your general meetings scheduled, best practice, put it in that member hub calendar, set it up to give reminders so that people know that it's coming, and then remind. That's the teacher in me. You cannot give enough reminders. Engage all participants, encourage participation, listen respectively, and stay positive. It is hard sometimes to be positive, but we really do encourage you. The more positive you can be, the more people you're going to bring in. Take minutes, take those minutes. Make sure that they are a part of your permanent file. Attendance, actions taken, be concise. If it was not in your minutes, it did not happen. Robert's Rules of Order. Formality may differ from meeting to meeting, but general rules stay in place so all meetings are fair, productive, and stay on task. Always maintain a fair and impartial position and encourage members to participate. You do want to have discussion, orderly discussion, but discussion. If a member has a motion, they should announce it with "I move" before allowing discussion. State each motion clearly after it has been seconded. So there might be, if you're going to follow it this concise, our general meetings generally do not follow that concise, but there are scripts. We have them for, and we can send them out to you guys if you need scripts. Recognize people to speak. They should only speak if you call on them. So in the script, it says Is there any discussion? And that is when somebody can stand up and say, I have a question, and you acknowledge them. That goes in the minutes. So it's very orderly. If you get Robert's Rules of Order, there's a companion guide or a cheat guide. I can't remember really which one it is. And it's upstairs in my room, so I'm not running up there. But it's a great, boring book to just kind of glance over to give you an overview of how to run a meeting. And that is how all PTA meetings are run, even at the state and national level. Stay impartial. If you do wish to speak on a subject, I ask the vice president to preside while you enter the discussion. Return and preside only after a vote is taken. And then declare the results of every vote so that it can be recorded in the minutes. So basically, you're repeating a lot. First steps to leading: reach out, connections, resources, and social media. Listen, transition, meet with the administration, connect with families. Gather, get your bylaws, put together a procedure book, look at last year's reports if there are any, or the previous year's reports if there are any. Get the audit back and change all your passwords. Get the old passwords, change them to new passwords. Protect, safeguard your nonprofit status. Make sure those 990s are in order. Make sure your bank accounts are in order. Make sure your insurance is in order. And insurance is another one of those things to stay in compliance with PTA. File the appropriate 990 every year. There was a 990 in audit training. Go to that recording, take a look at that, or go to the treasurer's training. All presidents should go to the treasurer's training. You really do need to have kind of a head on what that looks like. Make sure that you are spending exclusively for charitable, educational, or scientific purposes. Keep in mind, every child, one voice. So your goal is this budgeted item going to help meet the needs of every child? If it answers that question, go for it. Keep in mind that resources or funds are not for the private benefit of an individual. That is a question that we get a lot. Like, there's a family in need and their house burned down, and we would like to give PTA funds to that one family. Unfortunately, you can't do that. You can donate as a person, you cannot donate as an association, because PTA funds are used for all children. No political activity. We are a nonpartisan group, which is really hard, I know, right now, for anything to come off as not political. But do your best. If you want, you as a person can have all your views as much as you want. You as Catherine Shook, PTA president, is nonpartisan. I do not have any political views as Catherine Shook, PTA person. If you want to talk to me as Catherine Shook person, we can have a discussion. That's how that goes. Advocate carefully on behalf of PTA needs only. And we are going to be asking you, and sharing and advocating for the kids in Cherokee County. That is what we're doing. You are advocating for the kids in your school. That is what you're going to be doing. And that is what we as PTA do. National standards for family school partnerships. These are, I say, these are your report guidelines. This is where I started all my reports, and every thought and every goal and vision for my PTA board. I went to these 6 standards and I said, how can I meet these 6 standards in a year? Standard 1 is welcoming all families. Standard 2 is communicating effectively. Standard 3, supporting student success. Standard 4, speaking up for every child. Standard 5, sharing power. Standard 6, collaborating with the community. Standard 1, families are active participants in the life of the school and feel welcomed, valued, and connected to each other, to school staff, and to what students are learning and doing in the class. Great ways that you can do this is offer low, no-cost events, greet parents at events, smile, host meetings virtually, do town halls, do fun stuff in order to engage all families. Recruit bilingual volunteers to interpret. If you don't know any bilingual volunteers, reach out to us. We have a list, or I have a list. Let's see. Standard 2, communicating effectively. Again, families, PTA, and school staff engage in regular two-way meaningful communication about student learning. So if you have a PTA board member who is also on school council, that is great. If you have that principal in your board meetings, utilize them. Make sure that you guys are working together to align PTA and school and families. Make sure information is communicated in language and formats to reach all parents. We have a language list for every school. So not all schools are just English and Spanish. We have so many different languages, like more languages than I realized in our county. It would be amazing to see PTA documents in these different languages. Ask for feedback and insight. Casual Q&A coffee chats for parents, staff, and PTA leaders. Do what you can do to engage. I know it's part of the Spanish community. One of the things that the Spanish community loves are community events. So get up, give us fall festivals, bring in fun family things where the entire family is welcome. You're gonna see them all there, and also make it cheap because we're Hispanics, we are misers. Standard 3, or at least my family. Standard 3, families and school staff continuously collaborate to support students' learning and healthy development, both at home and at school, and have regular opportunities to strengthen their knowledge and skills to do so effectively. Be there at curriculum night. Host a multicultural night. One of the things that we did at when I was president at Holly Springs was we hosted ESOL night along with the ESOL teachers. Again, I come from a Cuban family, so we brought in the food, we brought in all of the stuff, and we had the biggest turnout. That's the other thing. Hispanics love food. You bring in the food, the people will come. And I think that goes with anyone. We bring in the food and we make it free, people are going to come. National PTA family reading experiences. Figure out what you can do to help support student success and then go and do. There's so much you can do, so many ideas. Speaking up for every child. Families are empowered to be advocates for their own and other children to ensure that students are treated fairly and have access to learning opportunities that will support their success. PTA Day at the Capitol is one. Making sure that there are school handbooks in all available languages. And then what you can be doing is when we share national or state PTA legislative topics, share them with your community. They need to know what is happening at the state and national level because it does affect our children. It feels so far away, but it does trickle down and we are affected. So we can advocate for our children by being aware. Standard 5, sharing power. Families and school staff are equal partners in decisions that affect children and families, and together inform, influence, and create policies, practices, and programs. Lead with an intentional commitment to being inclusive of all families' perspectives and unique needs. Listen to differing opinions, seek a solution that delivers the best outcome for students. How can we share power with our families so that every child's potential is met? Standard 6, collaborating with the community. I think this one is fun as well as hard. But families and school staff collaborate with community members to connect students, families, and staff to expanded learning opportunities, community services, and civic participation. Host a community fair highlighting programs that support the cultural, recreational, academic, health, social, and other needs of the families. Invite senior or retired community members to volunteer at the school. How can we bring the community in? One thing at Holly Springs that we did alongside counseling was a career day, and we brought in, oh my goodness, over 50 different people in careers, and it was hands-on. It was so much fun, and the kids grew a lot from it, and it drew our community closer. So it was a neat event. We also had parents bring in their careers. It was really cool. A strong and engaged membership benefits all kids in your school and throughout your community. Family engagement is linked to higher education rates, improved test scores, and teacher retention, among other important outcomes. When your membership is strong, your PTA voice is strong too. Every child, one voice. The more we have PTA memberships, the more voices are added to support all children. An enthusiastic and organized membership committee is key. Develop a plan for an ongoing year-long membership drive that clearly communicates the values of someone's investment in PTA membership. Keep it focused and on making the difference in the lives of all children. Attract and retain members is not just the responsibility of the membership chair. Everyone on your PTA board has a responsibility to keep membership moving and going. You will see an increase in participation if you focus on every aspect of PTA, every officer, board member, and committee's chair responsibilities on achieving strong, positive two-way relationships with families, teachers, and others in the community. Oh, here we go. Know your personal why. Share your story widely and often. Why did you join this PTA board? Why are you doing this? Why is your reason for being in PTA? Listen and understand. Seek perspectives of the staff. Value their feedback. Value time. Be organized at events. Purposeful with PTA efforts. Specific about what is needed from volunteers, and thankful for any support received. Pay attention to membership reports. Meet goals using personal connections. Support your membership chair in recruitment. Where am I? In recruitment activities. Challenge the rest of your board to be fully involved as well. If you show care, others will follow. The shared value of PTA. Share the value of PTA. Make sure your members and community know about all of the programs or improvements led by PTA. Volunteerism is the voice of the people put into action. These actions shape and mold the present into a future of which we can all be proud. Let's get some volunteers. I think that is one of the hardest things we have as a PTA is finding people to help. So contact every person who offers to volunteer. It does not matter if you don't need them, contact them, give them a job, bring them into the fold. Reconnect with volunteers throughout the year. Those who couldn't help at the beginning can probably be available the next time you call. Always ask. It doesn't matter if you don't need them. Asking and engaging people brings them in. Match volunteers to potential jobs based on their skills and available time. Consider an orientation for all volunteers, including introducing them to school policies, people, programs, and the school building itself. Give a variety of opportunities for volunteers, including assignments that can be done in small blocks of time, remotely, and those that can be done outside of school hours. I had people who cut things for me. I loved it because it was great. I could send it home with the kid and then it would come home back the 2 days later cut. It was the best thing ever. I loved it. So give different opportunities. Make sure that all people can be involved. Seek feedback. I love surveys. Surveys help you as a PTA grow and meet the needs of every child and all families. So even for volunteers, did you have what they needed? What was missing? Recognize your volunteers and thank them for their efforts regularly. A thoughtful plan provides the foundation of a successful PTA year. Always align with the PTA mission. Custom to unique needs of your community. Know your demographics. Know what your school looks like and how, and plan to how are you going to best meet those needs of your school. Surveys are great. Again, survey families, staff, and administrators. They are the ones who will know what is best for their families. Now it's the time to create a plan. The summer is the best. You guys should already be doing some goals and objectives. Develop a budget based on goals. Look at last year's budget, and actually since last year was wacko, look at the budget from 2 years ago and then kind of compare both budgets and see what you guys can do for this year. Track your progress throughout the year based on your goals. You're going to have to adapt. You're going to have to be flexible. That is one of the main things of PTA is being adaptable. Include methods for evaluating success and celebrate along the way. Do those surveys. Find out from your family members, how did the fall festival go? What worked? What it didn't work? How can we make next year's fall festival better? Always ask. Oh, finances and PTA. Overseeing the finances is crucial to everything else as a PTA president and the board. Sound financial management helps to preserve the trust of your members, maintain your PTA's tax exempt status, and ensure that your PTA can fulfill its mission to make every child's potential a reality. This means while you don't have to know it all, every PTA leader does need a basic working knowledge of the finances and financial reporting. Did I already say I recommend you come to the treasurer's training? If I didn't, I said it now. Almost done, guys. I'm trying to be valuable of your time. So in partnership with the treasurer, PTA leaders oversee several major financial areas. You guys work to get you should have like a budget committee. Sometimes that's your EC, and then you take it to the BOD, but try to have a budget committee and create a budget and a managing budget according to the bylaws. It's very precise on what you guys can do there. Filing federal, state, and local reports, reviewing periodic financial reports carefully. That would be the bank statements. That would be the treasurer's reports. Know those things, look at them so that you can, if a member comes and asks you, why did we spend $500 on this lunch? You can say, well, that was to cover X, Y, and Z. Have the answer. Make sure the PTA has solid money handling procedures in place, including how expenses are paid and how money is counted after fundraisers. One of the things that I learned, because we learn something new every year, is if you can't, if you have a fundraiser on a Friday and it's like 8 o'clock at night, have a vault to put that money in, because you really should not be bringing that money home. So those are like sound, how are we going to deal with the money? Make sure that, before an event, that Lori, Marilyn, and Emily are going to go the last 30 minutes after the cash boxes are closed. They're going to start going and they're going to be counting all the money while Catherine, Tiffany, and Scott are going and cleaning up. Kind of make those roles known. That way there's no, did you count the money? Did I count the money? Where's the money? We all know where the money is. Keep appropriate financial records. That's you and your treasurer work together to figure that out. Ensure financial records are reviewed or audited each year. They do need to be audited. You need to submit your audit, and that is to be staying in good compliance. All right, so the procedure book, what do you need? You basically need everything. So you need the president's name, address, phone number, emails, period, served. The leadership resource guide, including the president's checklist. You need your unit bylaws and your council bylaws. You need the contact information. Really, you just need the unit bylaws. You need the contact information for the executive committee and your board of directors and your school personnel. You need contact information for your council leaders, your district leaders, your state leaders, and your national leaders. You need plans of work. So you need copies of all your plans of work. You need copies of your calendar. You need copies of the school calendar. You need copies of the school system calendar. You need copies of all the budgets, because you do budget and then you do amend the budget and then you amend the budget again, and you need all those copies. And you need all the treasurer reports. You need all the communications, and this can be in a folder in your Google Drive. You don't have to have physical copies, but it's good to have copies. You need copies of newsletters and communications sent out by the president or your unit. Again, you can have digital copies and not hard copies. Depends on how you as a person likes that kind of stuff. Pertinent communications received by the president relating to programs and procedures. Copies of last year's annual audit report. So right now, everybody who closed in May should be getting their audit reports here by the next couple weeks. Then we have units closing down June 30th. So they won't be getting their audits until about the last week of July. So know when your fiscal year ends so that you know when the audit should be collected, and know who last year's board chose to be the auditor. So that you can, so your this year's treasurer knows how to pick up the audit. That should have happened in your transition. If it didn't, we'll work with you and we'll get it all figured out. Get copies of last year's minutes. Again, I would say do that digitally because that's a lot of paper, especially if you're in an elementary school. Month by month record of activities, programs, projects with comments and evaluation to help with the end of the year report and next year's report. Copies of reports and outstanding accomplishments. Evaluation of year's work with specific suggestions for improvements. Any other resource material to be found helpful. Last slide, questions and answer. I don't even know where I am on time. Hey, 5 minutes. Are there any questions that we did not answer?
I believe we have some questions in the chat.
I see that.
I've been trying to be on top of them.
I think it's just one that came in. Do we have to do a newsletter? Can we just do bullet emails?
Hi, Alana.
Hi, Catherine.
Hey, do what works for your unit. What works for you? I started my career out in marketing, so I'm a big communicator. So to me, making up a list of things that I want to be communicated out is easy. Bulleted emails, fine. I think the best thing that comes with communication as a PTA is consistency. So be consistent in your communication and thoughtful, and make sure that everyone has it. And I think you'll be fine, but I think you've got to figure out what works for your board and for your unit.
Okay, so this year we have a new president coming, or a new principal coming on, and she's taking our school completely digital, no paper. So there's no, she's going to allow us one letter to go home at the beginning of the school year to welcome everybody and to try to solicit people to join it for membership, and then and let everybody know we're going digital. This is it. This is your one paper copy for the year. And after that, it's all electronic. So she's going to be sending out a weekly communication to all the families, and she will allow us, or she'll put our stuff in there every week as we want it to be there. And then we can send our own additional whatever through Member Hub to our members.
So then I would figure out, get your social.
Last year we had our experiences that people don't open newsletters. When you got to go through Member Hub, and then you got a link, and they don't even want to go to Member Hub to sign up for membership. Never mind, like they want to open the email and see it right there. what is the info I need, and move on. They don't want to be, nobody's opening links and links and links.
Well, I mean, I would definitely use your principal then. If she's going to be doing all the communication for you, then just give her the bullets and the links. I mean, and then I would try to run everything through your member hub store.
Yeah.
That's one link and it links them all to everything that they need. Right,
The
Lori?
only-
Go ahead.
Sorry, the only issue we have then is, trying to get business memberships. In the past, we used to say, your logo will be on our newsletter. So now that's going away. We used to tell them we can have events at the school. We have no idea if we can have events this year. We couldn't have them last year. So kind of at a loss as to what to offer them. Basically, like to give them an incentive to come on. Like, how are we going to? Well, we have one idea, and that is to allow them to purchase banners if they're a certain level of membership. Banners, and we're going to put them all along our playground fence. We have quite a bit of real estate there that we can use to put up quite a number of banners. But that's one option.
That is, Sixes does that, and it is a huge sponsorship fundraiser for them. And they do. And for some, like I know at a $300 level, you get your own banner, and then they save them. So they don't have to rebuy every year. So if they have sponsors who re-up, they already have their banner made.
Okay.
So it could end up saving you a whole lot of money there to do banners. It sounds like you're gonna have to be doing some footwork for sponsors. And
We have a great volunteer this year who's willing, and he's getting out there already talking to all our businesses. But we have no levels yet. We don't have like the dollars, and we don't know what you're going to get for your dollars. That's what we're just kind of like trying to figure out right now. Do we have a plan A and a plan B? Do we say, if we have events, you'll have blah, 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 and if not, we have the other? We don't know.
right. Is
Get
there
some
any
feedback.
way, I know Etowah, Booth, Bascom, Boston, Oak Grove, can you all get in together and do like those cards? I know I just bought a band booster card from Etowah, but so maybe we do zones and see if your zones can, I just know from Dean Ruskin, Sequoia, and Hickory Flat, those three PTAs get together and they do, correct me if I'm wrong, Dean Rusk, I know you're on here. But they get together and they do a discount card. Yeah, there it is. See, Ike's. I thought it was Hickory Flat. So they do a discount card together, and then they all sell their own discount cards. And I know that I do end up buying a discount card from Dean Rusk, and I buy it from all three, and I get the same discounts. But hey, I buy them so I can get my Pampered discount on my pedicures.
You could also evaluate with your board and with your principal what your goals are for this upcoming year. Maybe for argument's sake, let's say you guys want to install a sunshade on your playground. Maybe that's how you solicit your sponsors. Hi, we're looking for, a $250 donation for this sunshade, and maybe you put a little sign, or once you reach that goal, you shout out those specific business sponsors. Thank you to whatever Chick-fil-A and Papa John's for supporting us purchasing this sunshade or something like that. It makes something a little bit more tangible for them, like,
Right.
hey, by that school, we did that sunshade, that's us.
Yeah, well, I mean, like Holly Springs Elementary this year, they're sponsoring a mural, but they have sponsorship levels, and like businesses who sponsor their name is put somewhere on that mural. So then that's a long lasting sponsorship or for this year for that mural. So maybe something that, is tangible in those ways. I don't know what Bascom's goals are this year.
Well, we did just meet with the principal. I did meet with the principal, and we are giving a gift from last year's money, We're buying a divider for down through the gym so they can hold 2 classes at the same time and the balls aren't like going back and forth or whatever. They're not like in the classes aren't mixing. And
Wow.
also we're doing bumpers for the playground poles. 'Cause apparently we have K through 2 every single day running into the poles, every single day. in the
Totally be that kid.
nursery.
Me.
So we're purchasing those bumper pads. And then I think other than that, this principal is big on technology and she wants us to be a 1-to-1 ratio of technology to students very soon.
Okay, so Scott had a great, they do Facebook recognitions and logos on their website. You know what? I can actually stop this share. Wow, there, we'll see everybody. Hi, everybody. So they do the Facebook recognitions and logos on their Facebook page, which is really cool. I've actually watched them and I'm like, oh, there's a lot of people off of 92 that sponsor Little River. So that's a really great way too to get sponsors. The digital stuff, what was I hearing, Lori? It was we have some questions that we have to ask the district because there is some digital stewardship, like some PTAs have bought Chromebooks and then it's been set on the PTA to maintain them instead of gifting them. So be very careful how we do technology. We want, I think, was it Little River, Scott, that gave money for the school to purchase the digital stuff, and then the
Yep.
district will then take over the ownership and care.
Well, yeah, we gifted. That was news to me when that came up in the conference about you're now on the hook to maintain them. Like that was news to me.
Yeah, so we will we're gonna get some verbiage on that and see what exactly the district, because that could change a whole lot of things, because it should not, it's a gift. We can't be responsible for whole water bottle stations. If we purchase them, we can't maintain them too. So there's some of this stuff that's coming down the pipe that I'm like, what?
So that's interesting, because at Bascom, prior to COVID, we had already purchased water bottle refill stations, PTA had, and installed them and paid for the filters. So we don't necessarily maintain them other than we purchase the filters. They put the order in and we just write the check for the bill for the filters. And then that's going to be an ongoing budget item for us moving forward. One other thing, we're getting rid of our paper planners. So we're going to save a lot of money by not having paper planners. We're going to be using Canvas more. That's going to be the new planner. As I guess some teachers use them, some don't, and it's kind of a waste. So we will have extra dollars, but I think the plan is that, I think as far as the technology goes, what we've done in the past is when it's technology, we don't actually purchase it. We give that, they'll purchase and then they give us the bill. Basically, we'll write the check to cover the funds. So you're saying if we do that, then we're now responsible for maintaining those electronics?
That's kind of what we have heard. Like I said, we're going to get some further guidance on that. That's like one of those questions that I have that when the council meets with the district, we're going to get answered. But we do want you guys to be aware. I mean, and it's like purchasing those filters. So that's something that Bascom PTA now is an ongoing budget item. When really, it should have been a one and done deal.
Well, but the filters need to be replaced every 6 months. And it was never in the school budget. And it was our initiative to put them in. And they never asked us. It was our initiative to do it.
Right, but
The
the
schools have them now?
all the schools have them now. So the ones that the district did put in, they are maintaining the filters.
Well, that's funny you say that. So they did say that to us. And so this year they tried to get the district to pay for the filters since we had already paid to put in. They actually did that themselves. Went to the district and said, look, since they put in, we already have them. So how about the funds you allocated for our school? Can you pay for the filters this year? And I'm pretty sure they did not pay for the filters this year. They came back and said no.
Yeah,
So
so
we are-
that's
we
kind
have
of what
this
we're
budget
running.
item now.
Yeah, so that's kind of what we're running into right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Jeanette says same situation in Ike's. You donated the money for iPads. And then, yeah. So And
So
I think the
yeah,
same
we were
thing,
told to keep them as PTA property and loan them out going forward, which obviously that gets really complicated.
Yeah.
But if you do it the other way, then it's almost like you gave money and then whoop, there it went.
Right.
They said they were outdated. So the county, when they came and took all our technology 2 years ago, the iPads went with them, which kind of stunk. But
Yeah.
and then we have the water filter situation too, but we were told we don't have to maintain them anymore. We installed, and do you remember, was it 2 or 3 at Indian Knoll prior to COVID? And then they said that they're taking over. So this year we didn't have to do anything else for them. So I don't know. It could be something you just need to talk to your principal about, because ours was like, yeah, we're good. The county will cover it from here on out. So I don't know.
oh, that's good to know.
That's
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
And we'll seek clarification from CCSD so that this is a uniform answer across all units. You don't have one school, one PTA paying for it here and another PTA not paying for it here, and we'll get clarification across the board for
For sure.
what this looks like.
Any other questions? How many of you guys are new presidents? Anne is a new president.
I am
Yeah.
Tiffany.
Tiffany's
Mhm.
Tiffany's a new president. Marilyn's a new president.
I'm a new president.
Randy, hi, welcome. So is this your, and okay, I know it's not Tiffany's first, Marilyn or Tiffany, it's not their first rodeo, and Linda's not, it's not her first rodeo in PTA.
No,
So,
not mine.
not
Mine either.
yours? No, okay, but just this whole role is new.
Yeah.
Okay. Any
Well,
other?
thank you. Thank you for
Yeah.
stepping up as
Thanks.
I'm
President.
excited. It'll be fun. I'm excited.
So, okay, and then we have, I'm looking here, is a majority of us
I'm
Well,
new as the
elementary.
president, but I've been on the board for about 250 years. So
you know that feeling.
Yes, totally know that feeling.
I've just moved around and it's my last year and we needed a co-president. So I was like, fine, I'll do it. But I've been in different positions, the parliamentarian, treasurer. So just shifting around.
What school are you at, Allison?
Macedonia Elementary.
Oh, thank you for being there.
Oh, that's where our principal came from, Dr. Doherty.
Oh, awesome.
Great. Yes, and those of you in new principals, we're hoping to kind of get a meeting so we can be like, hi, we're PTA.
Yeah, she's been great so far. She's a big supporter of PTA, so I don't foresee any, well, we didn't have any issues with our prior principal either. She was a big supporter too. It's getting our parents on board. That's the work we have ahead of us. They all hate Member Hub. Are we sticking with Member Hub? There's no chance it's going away. Had to ask.
No.
Well, I mean, you have to use Member Hub as an executive committee for compliance when it comes to state. You can at Bascom, use paper forms for your membership and enter that all in to Member Hub. That's an option for you. You don't have to force your
Yeah.
members.
We did that prior to this year, and no, we don't want to go back to that.
I understand.
That's really a volunteer, but I guess just Member Hub as a tool that we use for PTA in the first place.
For compliance, yes, and especially with this Member Hub 21, where you will be putting in a lot more of your compliance documents. We're going to do Member Hub 21. I would highly recommend getting on one of Member Hub support trainings. Scott has been awesome and taken over a lot of the Member Hub stuff. Well, Lori and I deal with some other stuff. So, but for sure, for compliance per the LRG last 2 years, I don't know what the new LRG is going to say, but you did have to put all your memberships through Member Hub. You had to submit your 990 through Member Hub and your audit through Member Hub and your officers. So those are the 4 things that you have to have in Member Hub in order to be in good standing. That's all you have to use Member Hub for. Everything else is optional.
So one of the
Oh.
challenges we come up against, and you probably, maybe several of you have this challenge and have figured out a way around this, is when you have parents who have children in several schools in the zone, like they're high school, middle school, elementary, and they go to log into Member Hub, they always get kicked back, or they've come from another school, they get kicked back to the other ID. They can never seem to navigate their way into Bascom without getting a lot of hand holding. Yeah, we had like 10 different people last year. It's such a nightmare. And now I've got the person who was pretty good a member of last year has moved on. So now we're starting all over again with the learning curve. And I don't really have time to get down deep into it. To,
I
like, to
think-
learn the tool really well, to be able to help individual parents that are stuck or that are having problems.
I would just say, all Bascom does for Member Hub is to sell their memberships. So if parents are having that hard a time with it, just say, just buy your membership through our Bascom Member Hub store. And that be it. And so it's that one store link, and then they can, and then that's it. I would use Sign Up Genius for everything else. And then you guys do all of your compliance stuff through Member Hub, if it's that difficult.
That's pretty much what we do. Other than we have our Spiritware that we sell through the store.
So, and then you could do that as well. I would just use that store. I mean, really, parents, if they're having that difficult of a time, I mean, I use the same email for all 3 schools that my children attend. And so, and the same email for every school that I am a member of. So that means that I'm generally getting 15 different Member Hub emails or give back emails. That can become a little bit annoying, but I just got into the habit of, if it's not like a newsletter or a membership announcement, I deleted it.
And Catherine, let me just add that I think Member Hub has simplified that process as well. If you use the same email, once you log in, it asks you which organization, meaning
Okay.
which school are you logging in, and you can select what school you want to see. So if your kids go to 5 different schools, you'll be able to see all 5 schools and select which school you want to see. So that should simplify that process. I didn't see that option last year, but I started seeing it this year. So that probably should simplify the process for them.
Yeah, I mean, and the
So
Member
good.
Hub training through Member Hub is really good. Jeanette has said that it was helpful. Scott's gone through it. Lori's gone through it. I sat through it, but I was actually working at the time, so that was not a good idea. So I'm going to sit down and focus through it second time around. So I think, I mean, there's some really helpful stuff out there, and then if you find a problem in your Member Hub, submit those tickets. Member Hub is really, really good about answering those support tickets. Sometimes we have to submit them 3 times. If you were following the Facebook thread, you saw us in WES. I mean, I put in a ticket for all 36 units, and I think maybe half of them got fixed, and we had to go about, and we're going to have to fix the other half. But they're a great customer service. They are a great company. But do what you need to do with Member Hub as a unit. And that is something you and your board can figure out. How much are you going to use Member Hub? If it's only for your 4 compliance things, then it's only for your 4 compliance things. But I think every year they're doing an upgrade now. This year's, while it's a little wonky to kind of get used to and navigate, man, from 2 years ago when we got this, it is 100 times better.
Yeah.
So, and I think parents might see the improvement if they've been with us for the last 2 years.
Hopefully, yeah.
Hopefully, or not. Any other
And if
questions?
you,
Oh,
I just want to circle back to that real quick, just to offer a suggestion. If you have a lot of parents at your school that are also members at Booth and Etowah, and they're having trouble navigating, you might want to connect with the boards at Booth and Etowah and see if you can offer, a one and done membership for all 3 schools that you guys sell in one of your Member Hubs, and then you distribute the the dues to each school accordingly, so that parents are just going on there once, purchasing all 3 memberships, and then they're done. Just a thought.
Yeah, how can I find out the contact info for the boards at Booth and Etowah?
I'm so glad you asked. We're actually in July, we are going to be doing zone meetings. So we're going to try to connect all the school zones together and the boards
Oh, great.
together so that you guys can collaborate. But us at council, we might do the same for you guys and do a council member hub, one and done membership for each zone that we can get and then disseminate to you guys as well. So.
Because prior to this, we used to like go this multi-level membership thing, and we're getting away from that this year. Totally getting away from it. We're going to
Make
the,
it as easy, as simple as possible.
yeah. So how is it that some of you guys do it? Do you offer just like basic membership, and how do you sell your spirit wear through Member Hub as well? Or do you, we were thinking of to get our membership levels up this year. The principal is very supportive of having PTA Spirit Day like 2 or 3 times a month and not on Fridays to conflict with sports. So that will be an incentive for kids to wear their Bascom spirit wear on that day. Say it's like Monday or Wednesday or something. So we were thinking that when you purchase your first spirit wear item, your membership's included. And we will try and capture their information that way. And we'll just price it high enough that it'll, you know, we'll have funds to
Cover the membership. Just make sure that you are covering your membership dues price. Don't lower that that dues, because that's in your bylaws. So use that price. If it's $10, then that is what you have to charge. You can't give a membership discount. You can give discounts on spirit wear. That is something that we have been asked before. The other thing you guys really want to be looking at is look at your bylaws. This is going to be a fantastic year to do some bylaws upgrades. So look at that dues amount. If your dues are under $7, we would recommend that you up them. We think we would recommend doing something between $7 and $10 would be a great dues price. If your quorum is above 15, get that sucker changed down. 15 should be the recommended quorum. I know, Dean Russ, you guys have 40. That is ridiculous. Absolutely unattainable unless you go to a band concert. And as a band mama, I want to hear my kid play. I don't want to be trying to get quorum. So that bylaws, look at those dues amounts, try to get it between $7 and $10, get your quorum down to 15 people. Really, for your board, if you have a whole heck of a lot of VPs, you want them as board of directors. So we would recommend co-president and co-presidents, 2 VPs, 2 secretaries, and a treasurer. 6, make it 6. So 2 co-presidents, 2 VPs. I can't do my fingers. 2 secretaries and a treasurer. So having it 6, kind of evening it out, and then everybody else should be a board of directors position. These are just recommendations.
Why would you have 2 secretaries?
You would have a corresponding secretary and a recording secretary.
Okay.
So if you look in the LRG, there are the 2 positions. Those are recommendations. You can have 1 secretary. You have to have 1 secretary. But having a corresponding secretary and a recording secretary, so 1 to do all of the communication for you and then 1 to do all of the minutes. Those are just some great recommendations. And we'll go over a lot more of this in the bylaws training. If you want to ask to do a one-on-one and we go through your bylaws and we can say, here's where you can change. If you have like 5 VPs, try to reduce that number. That's a lot of people. 6 voices, and then having everybody else on your BOD is a lot more manageable than trying to get 10 people elected. It's hard enough to get 6. Holy smokes, trying to get 10. I don't even know how some of y'all do it. Am I missing anything, Lori?
I don't think so. Just going back to the bylaws, you do want to review that with your executive committee and your board of directors. Basically, anything in your bylaws that is underlined, you can change. So That's what you want to focus on and look at. All the other stuff is standard language from state and national. That's not, you can't change that. But you can change, I believe it's the month that you do your elections and when your fiscal year ends and the roles for your unit, your quorum and your dues. But some of those other things, that's standard. You're not going to be able to change that.
And then the other recommendation that we have had from district is that all Cherokee County's fiscal years end on May 31st, so that we can all get up and running by June 1st. So if you have a June 30th fiscal year end date, you might want to think about ending it on May 31st. And know that if you request these bylaws changes, they will not happen for this year. They will go into 2022 and 2023. Right? Because
When is the deadline? When would be the deadline to submit bylaw changes? Can you do it at any point throughout the year?
You can do it at any point throughout the year. You have to vote on it with your board of directors. Then you have to post it for 30 days for your general membership to review. And then you need to vote on it with your general membership.
And you have to have a 2/3 vote quorum. So 2/3 of your quorum has to approve the bylaws changes. And
So
don't
for-
forget to put it in your minutes.
For the majority of your
2/3
quorum.
majority vote of your quorum. That was something I did clarify, because I was like, if I had to ask 2/3 of 250 members, I'm never gonna get that, but it's 2/3 of your quorum.
We switched ours a couple of years ago, well, more than a couple now, but 5 years ago at Little River. And we just put it out at the first general meeting of the year at our back to school dance is when we presented it. But have someone read the wording multiple times, because we put it up there and totally ignored that it said said like June 31st. And on it until we approved it. So then we had to wait and do it again at the December meeting with the correct verbiage. So proofread it multiple times.
Yeah.
And we can help you with that too. If you have questions about the wording or how it looks, if you want to send it to us and we can double check that, look it over with you.
But yeah.
Any other
no,
questions?
No.
Is the leadership resource guide, is that the place where, like, a cheat sheet of what we're supposed to be doing and when, like I know reports this year went out the window for me. I totally lost the sight of it. Is it in there when we're supposed, I mean, I've seen the model PTA thing, but is it in there, the specifics of that, like the timeframes and when and how?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I dropped the link in the chat for the leadership resource guide.
Yeah, I wrote it down. Thank you.
It's in there and it's on page model PTA.
And I will also be going over that in the VP report
Yep.
next week, which, I mean, if you can't make it, we'll share the recording, but I'll go over where to find it and the dates and stuff to think about now rather than end of February when it's kind of.
So
Yeah, that
bylaw
would be great.
amendment guide is on page 136. So page 136 for your bylaws amendment guide. And model PTA and all of the reports.
204 is model PTA.
Huh?
Page 204 starts model PTA.
204, and then 188 starts everything for your special awards, grants and programs. So, but anyway, it is 8 o'clock. We have kept you 30 minutes over. I do apologize. Are there any questions? If not, we can schedule one-on-ones. We have lots of training this month, and then we will have zone meetings in July.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a great evening, and I'm going to stop the recording.